Full time, Manchester United won, Fenerbache won. Obviously, it's one of those games of football that I went ahead, obviously, really think that would go ahead and obviously win as a club of Manchester United. But obviously, I showed you that our win is really going to depend on how we defended. Onana did a very good double save, if I don't remember it very well, and he kept us in the game for some time. And even Manuel Ugarte went ahead, obviously, putting that sliding tackle that really failed the likes of Eriksen to obviously put that ball into the back of the net. But all in all, there was some loose defending amongst our two defenders, all between Lisandro Martinez and Victor Lindelof, and that's what resulted into us conceding that goal. And obviously, I told you this that us winning this game of football and losing, it's really going to depend on to how we are going to come in through and really defend. Welcome to the United Matters channel. How are you guys and where are you watching us from? I go by the names of Rock and David. Smash like button, comment and share. If you're only watching us for the very first time, endeavor to subscribe to this channel so as not to miss out on stories that we do upload in here on a daily. Rock and David is my name and hope you guys are really having fun. And let's obviously get into this game of football in here. So I told you that it's really one of those moments that we are going to be looking at this game of football and see what result we're really going to be getting. And obviously, Man United really never looked bad. I think we looked good. But I told you that we missed out on chances. Fenerbahce missed out on chances. And we defended very well. But that one moment that saw El Nasri really run in between our two defenders really went ahead to cause huge havoc, and the United went ahead to concede. So smash the like button, comment and share. If you're only watching us for the very first time, endeavor to subscribe to this channel so as not to miss out on stories that we do upload in here on a daily. Now, let me first talk about Eriksen. Guys, the man called Eriksen is really on fire. If you never knew, it's high time you got to know that the man is on fire. You know, he's one of those that comes in through to obviously score goals for the club of Manchester United and obviously put in a very huge effort into the games of football that we've gone ahead to play. When you look at the games of football that we played over the weekend, Christian Eriksen was responsible for the secondary assists. Now, what are secondary assists? A secondary assist is that pass before the assist. Like you remember the first goal, for that pass that comes in through from Marcus Rashford, looking out for Alejandro Garnacho, you know, to obviously see ourselves really put that ball into the back of the net. You know, that's what they call the secondary assist. He did it for Marcus Rashford to get the assist for Garnacho's goal. He did it for Bruno Fernandes to get an assist for the goal of Rasmus Højlund, and that was really very, very, very neat to see to it that everything really moves on as planned. And the guy is really flying, and this season is really one of those dream seasons that he is really dreaming to obviously have at the club of Manchester United, to an extent that he has gone ahead to play 19 games this season for club and country. He has 7 goals and 5 assists. Now, for a player of Eriksen, this is a pure revival. I tell you, it's a pure revival coming in through from Eriksen, because it has not gone ahead to be a good season, especially if at all you really watched the season that he had in 2024. It was really a poor season for him, and all of us were like, he's supposed to be moved on in the summer transfer window, and maybe a lot of things went ahead to happen, and United couldn't obviously move on another midfielder after moving on Scott McTominay and only bringing in to, yet the usual plan was get in Manuel Ugarte, Amrabat, and really even keep Scott McTominay. That was the plan of Manchester United. So as it went into that ilk, obviously Eriksen stayed in here for you, and he was not part of the squad of Erik ten Hag that started the season, but by and large, he's into the team, and we are now accepting that he's in the team on merit. That is it. We are all accepting that Eriksen is in the team of merit, and went ahead to obviously put in a very beautiful shift altogether. He started playing the double pivot for the club of Manchester United. 4-2-3-1 was the system that Erik ten Hag deployed, though on Google it was a 3-4-2-1, but in actual sense it was a 4-2-3-1 with Manuel Ugarte and Eriksen playing into that midfield. But Eriksen looks good. I tell you, he's the best player at Manchester United right now, and I think Ineos are really gonna be thinking of really keeping him, because he has shown us that he has that composure and he can really put in those performances that are really high up his ceiling. And one might be like, Rokani, I don't think we should give him a new contract. Why? Because I think he's only doing this because he's looking for a club or fighting to get a contract. Yeah, I really understand, but this is one of the players that has been consistent in his career for a very long period of time. For as long as I've gone here to see Eriksen has been one of the most consistent players in his game. And you remember the first season at United, he looked good, not until Andy Carroll went ahead, obviously, go catch him by his ankle, you remember, and ever since then he has been struggling. But this season, Eriksen has gone ahead to come in through and put in a very huge shift, to an extent that he's playing 90 minutes, and he wouldn't have gone ahead to play 90 minutes, but because you're really having shortage of midfielders at Manchester United, with one Kobe Mainoo injured, Bruno Fernandes suspended, and it shows you how shite our midfield is, because the starting midfielders that we trust is Casemiro, Ugarte, Bruno Fernandes, Eriksen, and who else? And Kobe Mainoo. 5 central midfielders, yet we are supposed to be having 2 more into that midfield. The rest of the players are really young. Toby Collier, you cannot trust him. Dango is still not yet to that level. That's why I think Seydou Kone has been really rushed into the training session for the first team, because the manager knows to eat that the earlier the better, to obviously prepare for the situation when it gets worse. Because amongst those midfielders available, you know, it's Eriksen, Bruno Fernandes, and Manuel Ugarte, who you can really bank on for your season. Like, they can go for some good games without getting injured. But Casemiro, anytime from now, he can really get injured and really sidelined or get sidelined from that game. So I tell you, we are really in deep danger, and I think that's why during the January transfer window, the in your side is supposed to obviously come in through and obviously gate in players into what we call the summer. That has been all about Eriksen, but let's talk about Manuel Ugarte, another player that went ahead to put in a very fantastic performance, and I think his stats are really going to be brought up to you into what we call the player ratings. That is it, because he has looked good. He has looked good. Best game ever for Manuel Ugarte in a United shirt, and you anticipate that the manager getting him to play in the double pivot with Eriksen is an indicator that he's willing to obviously start him as we play against the team of West Ham. That is it. You remember, Erik ten Hag was tasked to see to it that he integrates Manuel Ugarte into the team of Manchester United early enough. And if we're going to hate to see to it that his presence in that midfield has not seen us get caught. I tell you, in the first half, you remember that cross that was brought in into the mixer, then Onana tried to fist it away, but it went to fall in the vicinity of Edinyosi. If we never had Ugarte on the pitch, that would have gone ahead to be the equalizer, because the way Manuel Ugarte made that recovery and obviously put in his foot to see to it that that ball deflects off his foot to go in the vicinity of Onana to obviously get hold it perfectly, I tell you what, it wouldn't have gone ahead to count any more than us. So I believe in a lot of things that United have gone ahead to do in that game of football. I see lots of positives. And the problem with fans is that they look at the win, but they don't look at how that game of football is going ahead to transpire. It reached an extent when United had total control, passing that ball, moving it. They dedicated the tempo of that game. You know, they dedicated play, the tempo. It was all about Manchester United to either play quick or play slow. That is it. So that is what I can tell you about this. So I'm like, it's really something great for the club of Manchester United, and I believe that however much we are disappointed with the draw, but I've seen lots of positives into that game of football, and I'm like, all right, we can build onto that as we get into the game of West Ham over the weekend, because we are really having a short squad. You know, we are limited, and when you're heading to the game of West Ham, we have to really cross our hands for either Luke Shaw, because he's back into training, and though he was training individually, and Malacia is really training with the first team. I would love to see to it that one of those players is really readily available as we take on West Ham, because we need to obviously have our defenders rested. And for John Evans, we have to cross our hands to it that he obviously recovers from the knock that he got when Man United is playing against Aston Villa. But Ugarte has shown us why he was brought in through at the club of Manchester United, and his interceptions, his duels. He is really a very good player, and it's just a matter of time to see to it that he really improves himself. And I really understand why Ten Hag is going to bench Casemiro. He might be having a thought that he can really play him into that game of football that sees United play away in London. And remember, we haven't gone ahead to beat West Ham by their stadium, you know. I think we've gone ahead to lose on both occasions that we've gone ahead to go there. I think the first time we lost 1-0, and even the recently concluded season, it saw United go ahead to obviously see themselves lose by 2-0. You know, Lucas Paqueta went ahead to obviously create, I think, those 2 chances for West Ham. Now, Onana. What a save from Andre Onana. What a save from Andre Onana, I can tell you. That save is really a textbook save. It has seen Jose Mourinho walk to Andre Onana in the tunnel and obviously thank him that you've gone ahead to do that double save. It's really world class. And this goes out to people who judge players at Manchester United in their first season. You know, Andre Onana had a very horrible first season. I can authoritatively say that we missed out onto the Champions League group stages because of Andre Onana. You remember, against Bayern Munich, the first goal we conceded, it's because of him. You get, and the United had gone ahead to get hold of Bayern Munich, and Bayern Munich couldn't obviously find themselves break through that defense. But that shot from Leroy Sen that slipped through his hands, obviously, childish goal, and it costed us that game. Then, when you're playing against Galatasaray, you remember what he did. You know, he is responsible for giving away ball that results into Casemiro being sent off. And we lost that game too, yet we had gone ahead obviously lead that game by 2-0. You remember, all goals scored by Rasmus Højlund. Then, from there, I think he saved us in the game of Copenhagen. He saved that penalty, I remember. Then we go to Galatasaray. It ends, we are leading by, I think, 2-0. He gifts away, by the way, he gifted away 3 goals, you know, and I think they all came from set pieces, if I'm not mistaken. So, there are almost 3 games that Andre Onana gifted to our opponents, and everyone was like, he shouldn't be in the stitches, and I was like, he is the guy, and I've gone ahead to see him really producing brilliant moments, and he just deserves, or he just needs his time, and when he gets time, he's really going to be getting there. And finally, we are getting to see the best of Andre Onana into the United team this season. And that's why everyone judging Zexi, I'm like, you are not a person who really knows what football is all about. Football is not all about delivery into the first season. The first season is all about getting into the team, and few players will come in through and really hit the ground running, like you're gonna hit to see Mazarawi do. Those are really gonna be few players. But right now, at the club of Manchester United, Andre Onana is really giving you what we call a perfect example, and we just have to give him a benefit of doubt as a goalkeeper and see to it that he takes this to the next level. But he went ahead to put in some fantastic saves. His ball distribution was really great, and I really liked how he went ahead obviously play as the side of Manchester United. And what else have I noted? Zexi. Zexi is a player who we need to be locating into that final third. You saw that assist, you know. If he was another person, we would have gone to obviously think of really turning and obviously shooting. But for Joshua Zexi, he was like, why should I shoot? Why should I turn and shoot? Yet there is a player who has gone ahead obviously make a run in front of me, that is Eriksen, that I can really pass that ball to him and see to it that all goes on as planned. And that was really what Zexi went ahead to do, and I really loved it. And he went ahead obviously get himself an assist into that game. And I think he really looked a little bit hungrier than usual, and Ten Hag gave him another start into this game. And I think there are differences between him and Rasmus Højlund, because when Rasmus Højlund came on through, you saw to it that he really had more agility, he really had more hungry, he really had more anger, He had lots of things to do to threaten the opponents, and he could obviously go physical. You understand? He went ahead, obviously got himself to create himself a chance. You get? So lots of things really went ahead to happen in that game of football, and I think it goes back to how Alejandro Garnacho is really trying to really evolve, but in his evolvement, he's really too selfish. You get? For the first goal, he makes a very good run, very good hold-up play, plays into other players, and it results into United scoring the first goal. But after that, I don't remember anything positive that Alejandro Garnacho has gone ahead obviously doing the game, running to players, and it took him close to more 40 minutes or 60 to obviously produce something productive, when he was really brought down. I think he thinks a lot of running with the ball, and there is a moment when he really went ahead to obviously skip past a player almost the center half, and he really had yards of space to run, and he directly ran into a player, yet he was really seeing him. I think, however much is really a one in the making, but why do players like Lamine Yamal coming through and obviously don't do that? You get? Because Lamine Yamal is 17 and Garnacho is 20. You understand? So I think before he thinks of running, sometimes he should really think who is there, because sometimes all you need is that pass, play into a player in the half space, make that run, he'll add you, and obviously find yourself in a position of obviously scoring. And there is a time he really went ahead to run into space, and Rasmus Højlund was there, Dalot was there, and it was like, let me go for a selfish effort. So I think he's really good, but he's really acting too selfish for the club of Manchester United. And such things won't really help us as a club of Manchester United. And I believe that he needs to obviously come up and really change his game. Because for me, I don't look at goals, because goals, anyone can score a goal, but I look at the entire setup of the team. What is your role? Because if they ask you that, what's the role of those wide forwards? I think first and foremost, it's to feed their number 9. And I ask you, how many times did Marcus Rashford look out for Joshua Zirkzee? And how many times did Garnacho look out for Joshua Zirkzee? Like, making a run that is really intentional, and his intent is obviously find the number 9 for the club of Manchester United. I cannot tell you that I remember any moment where such went ahead to happen. So in so doing, we are supposed to obviously come up and obviously understand this better and better and better, that we need in those efforts to come in through and obviously get up and running. So that is Garnacho for you. And I know people love Garnacho a lot. They really do love Alejandro Garnacho a lot. And in the due course of really loving him a lot, Garnacho has come up and obviously gotten what we call a Viva Garnacho from Manchester United. But however much that Viva is good, but it costs us sometimes, most times because of the selfishness that he really exhibits on the field of play. And this is where I go ahead and obviously fault Erik ten Hag for going in for 2 players on the pitch that almost get you the same. You get Marcus Rashford and Garnacho, yet you're really having an Amadi Diallo who can offer something different. And I was like, why is it that Amad Diallo is not being gotten onto the pitch? And even Anthony, I think for a 3rd time in a row, he came onto the pitch ahead of Amadi Diallo. You get? And I've gone ahead to smell a rat. And that means Amadi Diallo went ahead to do something that pissed off Erik ten Hag. And Erik ten Hag is like, I cannot play you and I can continue winning. You understand? That is it. Because he had that spot at the beginning of the season, but I think that there is something that really went ahead to happen in between Erik ten Hag and Amadi Diallo, to an extent that he never started the game of Aston Villa. He never played any minutes. He never played any minutes against Brentford. And in this game that we played against Fenerbache, if it weren't the injury of Anthony, there is no way Amadi Diallo was obviously going to find himself playing onto the pitch at the club of Manchester United. I tell you this. So, looks like he went ahead obviously break what we call disciplinary record at the club of Manchester United. That's why the manager is not really willing to obviously get him onto the field of play and really do the needful. So, as it stands, we wait and see how that pans out. But let's get into what we call the match stats, and they're as follows. 10 shots by Fenerbahce, 12 shots by Manchester United. Both teams had 5 shots on target. 52% ball possession by Fenerbahce, 48% ball possession by Man United, 489 passes completed by Fenerbahce, 464 passes completed by Manchester United, 84% passing accuracy by Fenerbahce, 83% passing accuracy by Manchester United, 12 fouls by Fenerbahce, 14 fouls by Man United, 2 yellow cards to the side of 2 yellow cards. 2 yellow cards to the side of Fenerbahce, 1 to the side of Manchester United. It went to Marcus Rashford, and that yellow card shows you how Marcus Rashford is really fighting back. You get? He really fights back a lot, especially in the defensive area. That's why he really went ahead to obviously get that yellow card. No red card issued to either sides. 1 offside to both sides. 5 corners to Fenerbahce and 3 corners to the side of Manchester United. And I saw this guy, what's his name, Matthias De Ligt, go ahead to obviously win one of those. Let's go to the table and see how everything is really looking like onto this table. Lazio is topping the table. They're having 9 points. Spurs is having 9 points. Anderlecht is having 9 points. Ajax is having 7. Galatasaray is having 7. Frankfurt is having 7. Midtjylland is having 7. Atletico Club is having 7. Bordeaux Glint is having 7. And then Lyon is having 7. United is really in the 21st. You get? 21st position with 3 points, and we are left with 3 games to go. Meaning that teams topping the table are really having 6 points ahead of us, and Man United have to do the needful. And remember, the first 8 teams go through, they go through and they'll be waiting at the quarterfinals. Then from the 9th team to the 24th team, right? Those teams will obviously have to come up and obviously play each other, like 8 and 8, you get? Then they'll be getting who the winner is to obviously be drawn to those that are already in the quarterfinals. So that's how the draw is really planned, and I think Man United really still has a chance to obviously get into the top 8, because we are left with 3 games into the we are playing 6 games. We've so played 3, and 7th November we are playing POK. That is it. And we are going to be hosting 2 games at home. And remember, we're going to have to play 2 games away from home. If United goes ahead to win these 2 games at home, we'll obviously find ourselves in a position of really having how many points? 9 points. You understand? Then our last game will be against Victoria Pleasant. All right? On the 12th of December. That's how everything is really going to be panning out. Oh, we even have Rangers. Oh my God. Oh, we are playing 8 games, right? I think we are good to go. I think we still have how many games to go? We still have 5 games to go. We still have FCSB at home. We still have Bordeaux Glint at home. We still have POK at home. Rangers and it's Rangers and Victoria Pleasant away from home. Those are the games that we still have. So 5 games to go. I think we still have a chance. We still have a chance, obviously, catch up with the teams up there. And I think if we capitalize on winning our 2 games that we're going to be having at home, then that will be something great for the club of Manchester United. So, good. And let's wait and see how things really pan out in here for the club of Manchester United. But I'm really having some people into the comment section. William Moses. Hey, Rokani. Is Ten Hag good really to play Mazrui as a 10? Yet even Ahmad could play there. Yeah, sometimes I've explained to you why Ahmad wasn't in the plan of the manager, because looks like there is something that really went ahead to go bad in between him and Amad Diallo, right? That is it. He lacks a lot of things. Silva, Ten Hag is tired of Manchester United now. He's looking away. Not that. No way. Because he wants to be here. How can you play Mazraoui in a 10 when Amad Diallo is there? Even Zexi can play there. Okay. A big United, you score 1 goal and you start defending 24 minutes. I think what people forget is that these knockout tournaments, it's all about capitalizing on your moments and really defending better. That is it. That's why teams like Real Madrid are champions, because they can keep clean sheets. You attack them for 80 minutes, they get one chance, they bury the back of the net, and they are obviously winners. So that's what they really capitalize on throughout their career. You get, and when you look at most of the times they've gone ahead to obviously win the Champions League, it is rare for you to come out and really think of or ponder of a moment where Real Madrid came up and obviously were dominant. You get, they just capitalize on moments, defend better. That is it. And by the way, in most cases, a team with the best defense will obviously emerge as a winner, because they'll defend very well and score 1 or 2 goals to go ahead and obviously win the game. That is it. All pot. Why didn't Eriksen start from the 10 position? Ten Hag like trying things with fans. I want him to knock out Fernandes in that position. I understand. I really went ahead to understand what Ten Hag was all about, because you start Casemiro and Ugarte in that midfield in the double pivot, and then Eriksen in the number 10. Do you know what happens? You are losing out on energy, yet Fenerbahce has Ugarte, has Amrabat and Fred, who never really burn out. So what he did was, let me start Eriksen and Ugarte in the double pivot, then later I'll move Eriksen to the number 10 position, because you'll be tired and you won't be needing to obviously travel a huge distance. Then get Casemiro and Manuel Ugarte to obviously cover up that central defense. And I think it worked out well, because you saw to it that when Casemiro came in through, it was hard for them to obviously break us down. You get, there was no outlet for them to utilize, to obviously come up and obviously beat through us. That is the side of Manchester United. So I believe he really had a very good plan, but we also had chances that we never went ahead to score. When you add on the selfishness of Garnacho, it also costed us, and Marcus Rashford also missed out on that chance. You remember when Dallo went ahead to obviously do the needful and obviously played him a cutback, and he couldn't obviously place that ball into the back of the net. Then Silva, he plays Rashford for 75 minutes. What has Rashford been doing on the field? But I think Rashford really did great, and especially tracking back. And this team really did great. Most of you are like trying to blame Erik Ten Hag and really did everything. But let me tell you, I think we looked good. We looked good as a team, playing away from home, and our defensive discipline was really huge. But a slip up for a second resulted into us finding ourselves into a losing position. Then Allport Charles, Ugarte is a good midfielder. He's hardworking, mobile, even smart tackling. I like him. But Garnacho and Rashford, those guys can play, but I'm not satisfied with them. They are non-clinical. For me, it's not about them being clinical. It's them being selfish. That's my huge concern, by the way. They are too selfish. I tell you what, they are too selfish as wide forwards, because when you look at that chance that he misses in the first half, when he obviously chops inside and obviously goes in for that far post, Joshua Zexi was standing alone into that goal area. And I think if it's Amad Diallo, he obviously passes him the ball. You get? And I believe, my prayer is that Erik Ten Hag irons out his differences with Amad Diallo. You saw Amad Diallo on the touchline, even when coming in through. His body language was like, I'm not happy. And he's like, why aren't I being got on? And a failure player like Anthony gets onto the pitch ahead of Amad Diallo for 3 consecutive games. That is unacceptable. You get, Erik Ten Hag, iron out your differences with Amad Diallo, and we want to see Amad Diallo on the pitch. If at all, there are no differences in between you and Amad Diallo never really broke any disciplinary record at Manchester United. I think Ten Hag should rethink on what Ahmad is and what Anthony has been in the previous 2 seasons. You've gone ahead to give Anthony a chance in the previous 2 games. In the previous 2 seasons, he hasn't gone ahead to prove himself. Ahmad deserves his chance to come up and obviously prove himself that he's the lad, you get? And I really felt like, what is Anthony doing? We are in the 80th minute, we are looking out for a goal, we are having the ball, and you go down the pitch like that. You get? Why do you do that? Yet we are really in high possession, and we are really in the attacking phase, you know? He gets treated, he forces himself back on the field of play, he denies us to make a substitution, you know, to say that Ahmad is here for 10 minutes, and he stays on the pitch for just 1 minute, he falls down again, he's taken off on a stretch, and I'm like, what is running in this guy's mind? You know, doesn't he think that we need to obviously go ahead and really win this game? So I think Anthony is not meant to be here, and I don't know how long the injury is really gonna take, but I think he doesn't deserve to be at Manchester United. Then for Ugarte, really looked great, good, and I really want to get him into that midfield as up. Dexter Simons, we are really short of players, that is it. Or Port Charles, things are not good for Anthony's life. He should leave the club, guy, though. He should leave. Then Christmas Ivan, it was wrong decision to start Mazurui and Zexi up front. But I think Zex did what he had to do. Zexi got us an assist to obviously get that first goal. What else do you want from him? Him, as a player, he's supposed to be fed in by Rashford and Garnacho. Did they do that? The answer is no. So it is really very, very painful that we went ahead, obviously, find ourselves in that situation. But all in all, United went ahead, obviously, carry 1 point. And one thing that you have to note that is really a constant in all what I've gone ahead to see United do in these games, we are the first ones to score. The game of FC20, we are the first ones to score. Game of FC Porto, we were 2 ahead, 20 minutes, 2 goals ahead. We are leveled. Then, even today, it has been United going ahead, but no positive result as 3 points. And a draw comes in through. So, I sign out for now. See you later. And I think we are really going to be doing the player ratings tomorrow in the